So I am going to turn the camera down, and we are going to, I'm going to show you how to make a buckle card. It's a fun fold. I've not seen this before. You maybe you have, I haven't. So I'm going to put my hand over here because I'm actually going to turn the camera down so you can. All right, this is the card that we're going to be making. It's a buckle card, and I'm going to be using the Gather Together stamp set and bundle, and I'll show you that in just a moment. So this card opens. Now you can put the flap on either side. I put it on this side, so you actually open it like that, and there you go. Isn't that clever? I have never seen this before, and I really like this, so I thought, well, we're going to make this. Now this card is made using Cajun Craze, and let me go through first of all what we're going to be doing. All right, we're going to be using the Gather Together stamp set with the gathered leaves, and you can purchase this through my online store at shallwestamp.com and receive a 10% discount when you buy the two together. And the dies come with, there's 7 dies. You've got a maple leaf here, 2 of the small pumpkins that you can cut out there, and also then you've got these 3 leaves that not only emboss this image, but they also cut. So that makes it really, really nice and convenient for putting everything together. All right, and then this is the stamp set. So it's got it's got this little wispy, like, I'm not sure, wheat, I guess, and some really nice sentiments. Okay, so that's what we're using. And then in addition to that, we're going to be using the Gather, what's it called? Come Together designer series paper. I absolutely love this paper, and if y'all haven't used it, you definitely want to get some of this. It's got some unusual colors, but look at this. I was showing everybody earlier. This is it has Mary Merlot and Cajun Craze. Now this right here, if you look at this, to me that looks like our Rococo Rose, one of our new in colors. It's not, according to the paper of what colors are in here. I made a card with this about a month or so ago, and it goes perfectly with the Rococo Rose. Here are, if you haven't seen this paper, here are some small pumpkins. We're going to be using this piece. And then on the back of that is your wood grain. And then on the back of this one is gray with polka dots. And then this is one of my favorite colors. This is the mint macaron with, I think, some pear pizzazz. And that's our pretty peacock. Isn't that gorgeous? And then, whoops, there's some more paper with the peacock and that. And then this is right here. This is one of my all-time favorite, I think, color schemes. Isn't that gorgeous? Ugh, I just love it. So that's the paper we're using. Okay, so let me move this out of the way. Now I've done most of the cutting on the die cutting machine because I just didn't want to hold everybody up with me trying to get that thing up on the table. So let me move this out of the way. Now what we're going to be doing, we're going to be using Mary Merlot cardstock. I'm going to give you the measurements. I will do a tutorial. The PDF tutorial. I'll have to do it, and I'll have it posted tomorrow because I told my team I'd do the same thing. I just didn't have time to do it today. But I'll go through the dimensions for you so that you will have everything, so you can not have to wait. But I will post the instructions tomorrow. All right, so we're going to start with a piece. In this case, I'm using the Mary Merlot cardstock. And this is cut a little different. This is going to be 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and we're going to score it at 5 1/2, okay? So I'm going to fold this over. I went ahead and put my score line on there. I'm going to go ahead and fold that over and use my bone folder and burnish my crease there. And if you happen to pop on, please send me a message or two so that I can see if you're out there. All right, so again, it's 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and then we're going to score this at 5 1/2. All right, so that's going to be our card base. Now, the color of the paper, it says it's Whisper White, but to be honest with you, when I looked at this, and I'm going to show you this piece right here. This is a piece we're going to use, but does that not kind of look like very vanilla? I mean, don't you think that kind of goes? To me, it doesn't look white, so we're going to use very vanilla, all right? So that's why I'm sharing that with you. All right, I'm going to go through the pieces, and then we'll start to put this together. All right, so we have our base, and we have a 4 by 5 1/4 piece of Very Vanilla. That's going to be for the inside. And then we've got a piece of Mary Merlot. This is at 1 1/2 by 5 1/2, and we're scoring it at a 1/2 inch. All right, so I'm going to fold this over on that 1/2 inch, and I'm going to burnish that as well. Okay, so again, this is 1 1/2 by 5 1/2, and you're going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then our designer paper that's going to go on top of this, because this is going to be our buckle, and this piece is 2 1/2, is 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. Okay, so it's 1 1/4 by 4 3/4. And then we're going to use a piece of our copper foil, and you'll see what I've done. This is going to be 2 3/4, so it's 2 3/4 this way by 4. Now, one thing that to get the most out of your paper is, especially since we're going to cover it up, because we're going to use this piece of designer paper, right? And this piece here is 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. All right, so every layer that you do is going to be less 1/4 of an inch. So this is 2 3/4 by 4. So we're going to take 1/4 away. So this would be 2 1/2 by 3 3/4. We're going to cover up those holes. I went ahead and put my dies on here and cut out my 2 leaves. And the leaves that we're using, we're going to use the 2 larger of the 3. We're going to use this leaf that's got the 3 leaves to it, and then this looks like a maple leaf. So those are the 2 that I used to cut out the copper foil. And this is what they look like right here. So that's what we do. So you can get more out of your paper if you know you're going to cover it up. So you can cut stuff from the inside. So that's a little tip for the day. And then, so we've cut that out. And now let me go ahead and, well, we cut 2 of them, but we got 2 leaves and we don't need 2. So that's okay. So then the next thing I did was I took a scrap of Mary Merlot, and I stamped it in Cajun Craze. So I'm doing backwards. Because Cajun Craze is the colors in the designer paper. So I stamped it with Cajun Craze, and then I cut it out using the maple leaf die and ran it through the Big Shot die cutting machine. Okay, so that's what we're going to use there. Let me put my dies off to the side, and then I've cut a 2 inch and a 2 1/4. I think I'm going to use the 2 inch circle, and I'll show you what that's for. This is how we're going to build our buckle. And okay, so let's get started. I'm going to first take my copper foil and my piece that's going to cover it, and we're going to add that using our snail adhesive. So let me put this over here. All right, so we're going to put this right here, and then we're going to attach that. Let me get in the camera. So we're going to attach that, and when you do this, you should have about 1/8 of an inch around all 4 sides. Okay, all right. So we've got that there. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to put some adhesive on here, and we're going to attach this to the front of our card. Okay, and we'll put some. All right. So this is going to go down here. I think I'm going to leave it like this because this is going to get covered up. Even though I like it, it's pretty. Whoopsie. Sorry about that. So we're going to go ahead and attach that here. Again, you're going to have that border. So we want to try to get it as even as possible. And it is a little bit more difficult when you're working with the darker cardstocks. But I think that probably should be pretty straight. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to attach our designer paper to our buckle, if you will. But the one thing you've got to be careful of, and I'm going to flip this around so I can see it, is because I'm going from the right side, I want to make sure I've got my pumpkins straight up, right? So if I was going this way, I'd have to turn my pumpkins around. All right, so since we're putting it on the right side, then I want to make sure I've got my pumpkins going the right direction. All right, so I'm going to, and I guess really if I thought about it, that flap right there would have been my telltale thing. So, all right, so we're going to go ahead and attach the designer paper. And again, you're going to have a little bit of a border, and this is going to come right to the edge of where our score line is. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take some tear and tape, and we're going to take a little tiny strip and we're going to place it on the back of this. And the reason I'm doing that is because when this card is opened, it's just going to give it a little bit more sturdiness, because this, you know, is the stronger tape, right? Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull in our classic label punch, and we've got to cut the hole in our cardstock to make our flap, so we have a hole that our flap goes in, all right? So what you want to do is, after you've attached your front two pieces to your cardstock, you want to slide this in as far as you can go, okay? Now I'm doing this backwards so that I can see it. And then you want to eyeball and make sure it's centered on your card. And I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and punch that out. All right, and that's going to be our thing for the loop to go into. All right, so let me move the classic label punch out of the way. And again, I'll have a tutorial done in the morning, and then you'll be able to, I'll list all the supplies that I'm using as well as the directions. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, which I tell my customers never to do, is you should always stamp before you adhere. But I'm going to adhere this down first, and then I'm going to stamp, and I'll tell you why. I'll show you in just a second. So let me put my adhesive on the Very Vanilla, and I'm going to place that. This is the inside of my card. So I'm going to place that here, and again, you've got that border, so we're going to place that right there. All right. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I need to attach my buckle, right? So my buckle's going to go there, and then we're going to fold it over. Now, see, I got my paper a little too high because it won't. Let me open this up. It's not. Good thing I didn't put a lot of glue on that. Hang on a second. Let me get my paper trimmer out. Have y'all got the new paper trimmer? I just love this thing. It is wonderful. Let me make sure I've got this at 4 1/4 because it might be a little bit long. It's a little, I cut it a little bit too high. Didn't cut it short enough. Okay, there we go. That's why it wasn't right. So let me go ahead and put this down here. That probably helps if I had cut it the right piece. Somehow I forgot to do that. It's, you know, when you're working with this dark colors, it really makes it difficult. There we go. Okay, perfect. So we're going to take our buckle and we're going to attach it down here. We want to make sure it's centered because when we close the card, this guy's going to go in that hole, right? So we want to, and I'm going to turn this so that I can see it. I want to make sure that it's pretty centered, and I think it is. So I'm going to flip it over, and then I'm going to take off my tearing tape. And I just use my paper snips because it's easier to do that. All right, and then I'm just going to fold this down. I'm going to give it a good burnish. All right, so we've got that on there, and there's our opening. Okay, now since I have this on there, before I do anything else, now I'm going to do my stamping, which I know it's like, oh my God, you're doing what? And again, I have it backwards because I have to be able to see it myself. All right, so we're going to use Cajun Craze ink, and we're going to use the Season of Thanks, and we're going to stamp that right up on top of here. All right, so we're going to stamp it right about here, and I apologize that I'm doing this my way, but I have to be able to see what I'm doing here. All right, and then the next thing we're going to stamp is those two little pumpkins. You see those? All right, so we're going to stamp those down at the bottom. So I want to make sure I get this in here, and I want to get it so it's kind of centered, and we're going to stamp those right about there. All right, and then I thought what I would do, and I'm going to open this, and now I'm going to take the sentiment that says wishing you well. So this stamp set, you know, you can really use it throughout the year. If you don't use the leaves, I mean, you can use some of the sentiments. And I'm going to stamp that right about here. All right, so that's what I did for the inside of my card. Right, so there, let me close up my ink because you know how that goes. If it's open, you're going to get your fingers in it. All right, so now we've got our sentiments on here. Isn't this pretty? I just love this. And I'll show you the other card that I made when we get done with the different colors. Okay, so now we're going to fold this little guy. Now, I'm going to take, I think I'm going to use this circle because this one I found, this is the 2 1/4. And when I did it on my other card, I felt like my stuff was showing through. And maybe it's me, and probably somebody won't notice it, but I'm thinking I might do because these are going to be covered up anyways. I think I'm going to go with the smaller circle. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in my tear and tape again. So let's do the 2-inch circle. Now, if you're more comfortable and you want to use the 2 1/4 inch, you're more than welcome to. Let me get my tear and tape. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a piece of tear and tape right here, because I don't want any tape on this, because we want that to open. That's what's going to open our card, right? So we're going to, you know, they call this tear and tape. I don't know about you guys, but I always cut it. I'm not sure why I do that. Anyways, all right, so I'm just going to put a piece right on the edge right here. So I want that there, and it's going to hold my circle, and that's what we're going to apply. Everything is going to be attached to this circle so it doesn't affect the opening mechanism, all right? So the adhesive's right there, right? So I'm just going to take my circle and I'm going to lay it right there. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to attach our maple leaf. And again, this is what I stamped with the Cajun Craze. And we're going to put some dimensionals on the back. Now, one of the things I'm going to recommend is that you put the dimensionals kind of towards the bottom, because we're going to slide the maple leaves. And I did these little twiggy things. Oh, I lost a little twig. I wonder what happened to him. So we will, I'm going to put them, because I want to be able to slide these things inside. So I'm going to put the dimensionals a little bit more towards the bottom. That gives me room to slide stuff in there, okay? And don't forget, the easiest way is to pop that thing with your thumbnail and see how they just pull right up. Makes it so much easier. Okay, I hope y'all are liking this. Okay, so I'm going to put that there. And I put that, I'm using that circle to build my focal point. Okay, now the next thing that I'm going to do, see how, I wish I knew what happened to my other flower, but oh well. See this copper, how it's kind of shiny. It's a little, I mean, I like it, but I think it's a little over the top. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to use a nail, I don't know, like a buffing. It's a nail filing thing. And I'm just going to file it down a little bit. So all you want to, you don't want to take it and rub it back and forth. You want to take it and just lightly, now you can put some adhesive and use your craft pad, but I'm just going to hold it with my finger. So just take this and just go in one direction. Don't go back and forth. Just rub it lightly. And if you notice, it's just going to pull some of that copper off. And I know some of you guys are probably going, oh my God, she's taking the copper off. But I wanted to kind of just give it a little bit more of a, you know, like a distressed type look, you know. So we're just going to rub it a little bit. I don't want to take it all off, but I don't want it to be quite as shiny, you know. And so we'll take a little bit on there. That's going to be hidden anyways. Look at that. Now, does it see how it looks a little silver? Doesn't that look nice? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to take some adhesive and we're going to put these guys in there. So I first got to decide where I want to put this guy here. I think we're going to put it at the top. So let me put some adhesive. Let me move this guy out of the way. I'm going to put some adhesive on the bottom here so we can slide him in. And I think I'm going to put him right here. So that's why I didn't put any dimensionals, because I wanted this to lift up a little bit. So we're going to put him a little bit at an angle. And that should help fill in some of those holes, okay? All right, and then the next one, this guy, we're going to take, and I'm going to put him on top down here, which will hide that one. So let's put him, give me a second. Let me look at this so I can, let's put him at an angle. Let's kind of lean him this direction. How's that? We've got some tape on him. Actually, let me put, before I pop him down there, I'm going to, I don't have my little mini dimensional, so we're going to make one. Bear with me. I'm going to cut a little tiny piece of a dimensional because this is popped up and I just want to make sure that this one's popped up as well. So I'm just going to put that right there just to hold it in place. And we're going to pop him, we're going to put him right on top. I'm going to kind of angle him about like that. And that way he's going to be popped up a little bit. Just, I don't know why do I always call them hymns, but anyways, I do. Don't ask me why. Yeah, I think, let me put some adhesive on here. That will be better. Let's put him right about down, right about there, okay? All right, so far so good. What do you think? All right, now the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to use some linen thread. I ordered some of the, there's a new linen, a little bit thicker that you can kind of unravel it. I don't remember the exact name of it. And I've ordered it, but it didn't come in time. So anyways, I'm just going to tie a small bow using our linen thread. And you can use whatever, whatever ribbon you have on hand that you want to use is fine. So we're just going to pull our little loop-de-doops down and get this smaller, and then I'll tighten it up. Make it smaller, and then you can tighten it. I don't want that to be so big, so let me just pull it down a little bit more. So we're going to cut his little tails off, and we're going to attach him. I'm going to take a glue dot, and I'm going to take this off with my finger, and I'm going to roll it into a little ball so that it doesn't show. Now tonight I'm only doing the one card. Next week I'll probably start doing 2 cards, but I don't want to spend like an hour and a half on, because I know everybody's busy, and I thought if I can get this done and maybe do 2 cards like in 45 minutes, then I think that's what I'll probably do. But I don't want to do much longer than that, because I know everybody's busy. All right, so we're going to attach that with a little glue dot. Glue dot. Coming together so far. What do you think? Now I have, oh gosh, what did I do with him? Oh, he stuck to me, that's why. I used the dies from the Pretty Peacock, and I had cut 2 of these out, but I've lost one, or he's probably got stuck to something and I don't know where he's stuck to. But I wanted to add a little bit of color. All right, and I'm wondering, he's a little bit shiny too, so I think I'm going to take just a tad and just a little bit, not a lot. I just want to kind of dull it just so it kind of stays like the other. Now, since he's kind of long, and if you have any, I thought I had the sprig punch, but I don't. I thought I did, but it's the leaf punch, so now I've got to order the sprig punch. I don't know what I was thinking. Anyways, I thought I would put him in this area. I think I'll trim him down. I thought I'd put him over here to give a little bit of color on this side, but I actually had another one. I'm going to cut this off because this is too long. Okay, so we're going to cut that off. But I wanted to put something on that side to kind of balance it, but I think we might end up, and you got to be careful because this little piece right here wants to come off. So I need to put some adhesive. I don't want to put too much because I don't want this to stick to my mechanism, to our opening mechanism. So I'm going to slide him right in there. And I think I'll just leave him on where it's laying on here, but when we go to open it, voila, there's our card. What do you think? Isn't that cute? I love this. Do you not like this? Make sure you leave some comments and share this video for me. But I just really think this is pretty. Now, this is with Mary Merlot, and then I use the Cajun Craze here. Now, this is what I did earlier from my team meeting, and I did this one with Cajun Craze cardstock, and then I stamped the Mary Merlot, and then you can see I stamped this with Mary Merlot on the maple leaf. So that's the one I did earlier today, and then this is the one that we did just now. This is Cajun Craze with Mary Merlot ink, and then this is Mary Merlot with Cajun Craze ink. So leave me a comment and let me know which one do you like better, which color. All right, so there's the Cajun Craze, and then here is the Mary Merlot. Isn't that cute? I just love this. Tonight, yes, the one I did tonight, Linda, is the Mary Merlot, and I'll post that right here so you can see it. Let me get over here. This is the Mary Merlot cardstock with the Cajun Craze ink, and then the one I did this earlier for my team was Cajun Craze cardstock with Mary Merlot ink. I really like both of them. I really do like the Mary Merlot the more I look at it. Isn't that nice? I really like that one. So I think I'm going to do another one of these cards. I really like it. So you might see another one of these soon. But anyways, thanks so much, you all. I really appreciate it. Actually, I've been keeping you to about 30 minutes, not counting my 12 minutes of being late. Thanks for watching. If you need to order any supplies, you can go to my online store at shallwestamp.com, and here's the host code. I'll put that, it should be in the video if you want to watch it again. And share my video if you don't mind, and we'll see you next week. All right, everyone, thank you again for stopping by and watching my live and the buckle card, and we'll see you next Tuesday, and we'll probably do 2 cards next week. All right, everyone, thank you again. I appreciate you watching.